in East Pakistan surrendered unconditionally. One of the differences between the 1971 operations and the previous war that India and Pakistan had fought in 1965 was that this one happened at such an amazingly swift rate. Just under 2 weeks is how long the war actually lasted. But the real reason why this war was brought to a close with such amazing intensity and so swiftly was the fact that this was India's first war where all three services, the Army, the Navy and the Air Force, came together like never before with just one objective: the liberation of Bangladesh. It was by no means solely a land forces military campaign. The Indian Navy and the Air Force were deeply involved in the war effort. We've seen films about Longewala, we've seen films about the Air Force in the western sector, we've seen films about the sinking of the PNS Ghazi in the Bay of Bengal by INS Rajput. But the fact is, it was the operations by all three services together that actually brought about this amazing victory. It was indeed the first true tri-services war fought by India. By the end of it, Pakistan had lost a third of its strength to inspired Indian operations, and from the air, Indian fighters and bomber pilots rained hell from all sides. This was a victory, literally, in all three dimensions. The Indian Army may have been the toast of the 1971 war, mounting a brilliant, memorable land forces campaign to liberate Bangladesh, but it was also India's first truly tri-services operation.
So it was a total synergy between Navy, Army and the Air Force which won us the 1971 war.
The Indian Navy and Air Force proved to be formidable game changers in the other two dimensions, driving the war steadily towards its logical conclusion, the crushing defeat of Pakistan. The war at sea has passed into the realm of legend. Pakistan's maritime aggression kicked off with the deployment of attack submarines both in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, a terrifying proposition. But the Indian Navy's Operation Trident smashed the Pakistan Navy where it hurt the most, Karachi. During the war, Indian Navy vessels mounted a fearsome attack in the Arabian Sea, sinking Pakistani destroyer PNS Khyber and minesweeper PNS Muhafiz. They quickly followed with Operation Python, where Indian torpedo boats attacked Karachi by night, destroying Pakistan's massive naval fuel reserves and paralyzing its maritime strength. On the 9th of December, however, the Indian Navy lost a frigate, INS Kukri, in the Arabian Sea, a huge loss. In the Bay of Bengal, the Indian Navy put in place a brilliant blockade, effectively incapacitating warships of East Pakistan. Things were taken to the next level when Pakistan secretly slipped in a submarine, PNS Ghazi, into the Bay of Bengal, tasked with sinking the aircraft carrier INS Vikrant and destroying the blockade. But the hapless boat was detected and destroyed in a work of genius by Indian destroyer INS Rajput. According to one estimate, the Pakistan Navy lost 1/3 of its force levels in the 1971 war alone. Faced with a progressively wilting Pakistan Air Force, the Indian Air Force achieved air superiority on both fronts. Pakistan's lack of meaningful offensive operations seemed to be a considered move to mitigate the huge losses it had already incurred in the conflict.
After day one, another 2 hunters joined in, and 4 hunters had a whale of a time firing at these people. And if my memory remains with me, 54 tanks were destroyed in that 3-day period.
Air Force and naval combat pilots flew thousands of sorties, giving Pakistani forces in East and West no time to recoup and replan. By the time the war ended, East Pakistan was completely isolated, and the Indian Armed Forces had achieved unquestionable superiority in 3 dimensions. If there was one person who played a decisive part in making the idea of Bangladesh a reality, it was without question India's then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Not only did she show incredible uniformity of purpose in supporting the freedom struggle of a people ripped apart by the Pakistan army, she also took meticulous care to walk along with the first government of this newborn state, offering support at every step of its making. Here's looking back at Indira Gandhi and her stellar role in the birth of Bangladesh. Sonia Gandhi received the Bangladesh Freedom Honour conferred on Indira Gandhi, her mother-in-law and former Prime Minister, for her contribution to Bangladesh's liberation war. And this is what the President of Bangladesh, President Zilur Rahman, had to say about Mrs. Gandhi. By her political wisdom and vision, she influenced the course of history and the fate of generations, all for good reason. The political and personal role of Indira Gandhi in the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971 is inseparable from the country's history. Indira extended unequivocal support to the people of the former East Pakistan. She fought and won their freedom struggle for them, and in the process established her credentials as the Iron Lady of Indian politics.
She was very cool and very decisive. If Bangladesh, the two things which one remembers, one is the army and the way the intelligence agencies coordinated with each other, the IB, the RNW, and they all coordinated because Mrs. Gandhi ensured that everybody will coordinate, everybody will fight as one team. There is the army or the IB or the RNW or the BSF and all. So it was teamwork. It was teamwork made possible, led by Mrs. Gandhi.
Real politics understanding at that point of time. 71 was her biggest success. It was a masterstroke by her.
India under Indira Gandhi fought the war along with the Mukti Bahini, first indirectly but later directly when Pakistan opened another front in India's west. But that wasn't all. The unprecedented atrocities of the Pakistan army led to a mass exodus from Bangladesh. India under Indira Gandhi opened its eastern borders, allowing safe refuge for an estimated 10 million people. They fled their homes to the neighboring West Bengal, Tripura, Meghalaya and Assam. She helped settle the government in exile of Bangladesh with imprisoned Mujibur Rahman as its president.
The political leadership of the war, ultimately whether we win or lose a war, it depends on the army, a strong army and a well-motivated army. We had a strong army, well-motivated army. But that alone is not sufficient. The political leadership also very important. The political leadership and the army and the intelligence agencies, all the three, they have to work together. And we had a brilliant political leader in Indira Gandhi. If Indira Gandhi had not been there, and we had somebody else as the Prime Minister of India at that time, I'm not sure, we would have still won the war, but I'm not sure we would have done it so easily. She played a very important role.
Supported by the then socialist bloc led by the Soviet Union, Indira Gandhi, despite being the lone voice against the mighty United States, travelled across the world to mobilize support for the beleaguered people of Bangladesh.
She went round the world not necessarily to lobby for Bangladesh, but to say, look,